Recording started. Let's get a roll call.
Miss Anthony? Oh, here. Miss Bright?
Present.
Miss Clement? Oh, here. Mr. Hayes, he'd let me know he was not coming. Mr. Mayor?
Muted. Sorry, present.
Miss Shaw?
Present.
And Mr. Stevie?
I am here.
Okay, we have quorum, Mr. Chair.
All right. Let's move on to number 2, review and approval of the March 20 meeting minutes and action report. I'll move that we accept these.
I'll second that.
All's in favor? Aye.
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 Any opposition? Hearing none. Move on to item 3. I'll open this up to see if there's anyone on the call currently that's not associated with any of these projects or with the board would like to address the board for a minute or two.
And Mr. Chair, Miss Anthony just joined in.
Yes, thank you. Sorry I was late.
It's okay.
Welcome, Paige. Are you call the audience? Sound like none. Let's move on to number 4.
So, Mr. Chair, members of the DRB, the Hyatt Hotel is back. Last meeting 2 weeks ago, the DRB held that courtesy review, and the applicant went through his presentation, and the DRB went actually through each one of the RNA criteria and requested the applicant for a little bit more information. I can read it. Basically, the DRB was asking for exterior lighting and also to show details on the proposed control gates on the new outdoor patio, and then to specify in their shade study the time and day and the calculations to demonstrate compliance with the RNA requirement for shade. Also to show some signage design concepts and where those signs might be placed on site. The DRB also requested details on paving materials and finishes, and also their irrigation plan, not only for the landscape areas, but also for potted plants, plants on containers, and then also to provide in the design package to list each one of the RNA criteria, and then brief description on how they think they were meeting that criteria. So they did submit revise the presentation, and the applicant is here ready to give it to you. And also want to let you know we have a second item, a second project in the agenda, and I just was informed that Ms. Brad is going to have to leave at 10 a.m. Oh, and Ms. Clement just joined in as well. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you.
Right. Is my mic still working?
Yeah.
Okay. My big camera's decided that it doesn't want to work. I moved my computer, touched it. I shouldn't do it, but I do it all the time, and it turns my camera off. Well, let's move on to, it sounds like there's a pretty good list of items that came out of that courtesy review. So I don't know, take it away, guys.
Great. Good morning. I'm Phil Swaim, here with my partner, Tim Smith, and our landscape architect, Eric Barrett. And as Maria described, the courtesy review was very helpful. We really appreciate that. And I think we've been able to address that as we go. And also good, here with Teresa Vasquez from HSL Properties as well. Good morning, Teresa. So So no,
And-
this is
and,
great.
And Phil,
We're-
sorry, I forgot to mention something. Let me
Sure.
share my screen very quickly. So these went through the PRS for review, for their formal review. They also went back to the Historic Landscape Subcommittee of the Tucson-Pima County Historic Commissions, and the PRS recommended approval with a couple of conditions. So Phil, in your presentation, please be ready to address those conditions by the PRS. I'm gonna read them. Number one, provide a mock-up of the proposed glazing for comparison to existing glazing to ensure compatibility. And two, consider replacing a portion of the existing east side security fence with new cable railing at the new connection. I mean pedestrian connection. Sorry for the interruption, Phil. I just failed to mention this to the DRB.
No, that's great. That's great. It's been a busy 2 weeks since we met with you and in the courtesy review. So I think we've got a lot of good information here. Hopefully I can cover most of it during the presentation. I'll go through, and I think that last time I saw, obviously, there's a lot of significant interest in landscape, and Eric can come in and cover that in more detail. And we did have the document with all the Rio Nuevo requirements and our responses. It was included in our full response, but I think we've got that now in the preliminary of the shortened version as well. So we can go through that if you'd like in some detail. So let me go through and cover it. We're so excited to be able to get this hotel, the old Hotel Arizona, now a Hyatt Regency, reopened in 2027, adding in 291 rooms downtown, by double the size of any other hotel downtown, which is certainly exciting. The TCC and Visit Tucson are chomping at the bit, I think. So this shows the Rio Nuevo zone that we're responding to, but I think the next slide shows the context a little bit better. This is right on Broadway and the streetcar line, connected to the TCC to the south, along the historic plaza on the east side with the bridge over Broadway and Congress to the governmental center. Really a great location. We've got 2 vacant lots on either side that I'll cover a little bit more detail as we go through as well. This slide shows the adjacent historic districts that we can cover as part of our response. And fortunately, I think both those meetings with the landscape subcommittee and the PRS came out very well, and we appreciate their suggestions. So the next slide actually shows in more detail the scope of the project. We're really not adding on to the building itself, so it's really the site and recreating the context and connections, I think, that are so valuable. On the north side along Broadway, the building's set up several feet from the street, so we're actually creating an accessible route down to Broadway on the northeast side there that is going to be very valuable and improve safety and access. We're creating a patio on the northeast corner that really fits in the context of downtown, especially this area with the wonderful plazas and things at the TCC and La Placida and across the street at the governmental center, and at the same time creating a connection that we'll get into more detail on, but a sloped ramp wrapping around the patio to connect to the historic plaza. Right now, there used to be a building on the side here that really blocked any access. So the only access is off of a narrow stairway that's kind of hidden, a little scary to go at the wrong time of day. But so I think this improvement, which will be a public access, will be a wonderful addition here to the area. We're creating a driveway that wraps around the building. So our parking plan is we have an agreement with Rio Nuevo to utilize the Lot C garage, which is just on the west side of the music hall. And so instead of forcing cars and vehicles to go back out onto Broadway, we're going to wrap it around the side of the building and access the garage from the north as we had designed it. So it'll be a much safer connection. We're really proposing all valet parking, so it'll be a controlled access at this point. That vacant lot, this is now 3 separate parcels. The vacant lot on the east side is planned for future workforce housing. So we're trying to do minimal improvements on there now that would be destroyed, but that driveway would be going through a parking level underneath the housing, so it will be able to stay. And we're excited actually that the housing, which we've done some concept design on, will be able to connect and activate the historic plaza, which is where the entrance will be off the east side. So I think really kind of reestablish a much more active urban environment there. As we wrap around the south side, that's where the loading docks and other things are occurring. Because we don't have the buildings on either side, we are creating exit stairs coming out the upper level of the plaza or the hotel that comes down on that south side. We have a staff with the fire command center also accesses off the south side there, and we've also unfortunately, well, I guess the reality we're creating a central plant. We had hoped to do a deal with the city and TCC to be able to connect to their central plant, but they've had some efficiency issues, so unfortunately that deal was not able to happen. So we are placing that at the southwest corner of the hotel. The other option of or where the old central plant was on the southeast corner, directly adjacent to the historic landscape or historic plaza, and we did not want to be able to place a central plant right next to to that environment there. So we think this can work out pretty well where we're showing it and are creating that location. On the west side of the hotel, where we've got the private drive, we're actually narrowing that down and creating a landscape buffer and sidewalk that will enhance the connection to the TCC from our lower ballroom level, so guests and convention or meeting goers can connect to the TCC and the hotel on that side. You can see the vacant lot on Granada used to be a parking garage that basically was condemned. It was a little scary to park in there towards the end. So that there's future plans for possibly a senior housing or some other project, but that again is a separate parcel from the hotel. Well, we jump to the next scale. It certainly stop me if you've got any questions along the way, or we can come back to them. So here we've got a series of photos of the existing hotel. It was built about 53 years ago. Some modifications over time. You can see that somebody at one point painted the band pink. Used to be all white. We've got a photo of the existing or the original building. And those little crenellations or extensions that come off the parapet. At one point, they added those to the porte cochere, which we're planning on actually removing. The other thing that you notice in the tower is the horizontal white bands, originally designed that we'll see, and we're excited to go back to, is an all vertical glass. So again, there's been some modifications that have occurred over the years here. But this also shows the image of how the hotel is raised up above Broadway. The other views are from the east side, from the historic plaza. That right-hand one that Tim's showing, that is the fence that came out of the PRS comment. It was basically an 8-foot guardrail fence that was added, and that's where we're connecting our ramp and bridge, and so we'll come back to this, but we're excited to go ahead and actually replace that stretch of fence with our guardrail. I think that'll be a nice addition. So yeah, we appreciate that comment, and we're excited to be able to do that. I think the next we have some other slides that show again the existing building, the porte cochere, the driveway that goes through there. Again, we can cover these in as much detail as you like. This really enhances, and you can see how it changed the original look of the building when they added those horizontal white bands on the tower itself. Again, there's some. This shows the. Go ahead.
Okay, sorry.
This shows the south side of the building. where we've got the loading dock and things, you can see it's been somewhat neglected and also painted pink. The roundabout is actually in the right of way with the palm trees and is part of the historic element. And so as part of our proposal, we are actually re-landscaping that. And I think that the landscape subcommittee is really pleased with Eric's solution on, and we'll show that in some more detail as we get to it. Like a whole series of photos here. Again, if it's helpful and you'd like to talk more about the context, we're more than happy to do this, or maybe as after the presentation, we can come back if that's helpful to be able to look at any of these conditions. I think this is a photo of when the building was originally built. You can see the verticality of the glass, the dark glass, and the white columns that we're excited to go back to, and the porte cochere that did not have the elements added to it. The other thing, again, I think that's going to be a nice change is you can see originally there was on the east side of the hotel was a building with a solid wall facing Broadway that obviously did nothing to be able to activate and actually block the connection to the plaza going north-south. So that's where our new plaza is going to be located, and so I think it'll be a really nice addition. So we have a series of renderings here showing more what we're after. This obviously on the west side, you can see the landscape buffer. We've even collaborated with Tucson Fire. So right adjacent to the building, we're creating shade in our public walkway, but low enough trees that fire can. This is really going to be their main access to be able to keep the building safe and manage an emergency. We've also started to add, per your request, the approach for signage. Later, I think somewhere back at the end, we can show more the logos and things of what Hyatt actually does. So this is very early on, but there's really three main locations that we're adding signage. The top of the tower, we're looking at having a Hyatt Regency sign on all four sides of the building. We have a small monument sign right on the corner of that round. Then the monument signs in this signage district are actually limited to 20 square feet. It's interesting that this is part of a district that really encourages building mounted signs. So because of the frontage, we have an incredible opportunity to be able to add the signage. But we're really trying to just keep those to the appropriate way to be able for access and visibility. We also have a sign that's going over the porte cochere, which is going to be more on that human scale and for traffic scale for people to be able to see the hotel itself. Here we are over on the east side with the proposed with the patio space that we're creating and the driveway that wraps around and underneath the bridge. This also shows, I don't think we've updated the rendering for this piece, but where our bridge ties in, we bring it over, and this is where a building did connect to the historic plaza. So we're trying to keep that location consistent. But just to the right of that, where circled, that's where that taller fence, we're going to replace that and put in the same horizontal cable railing that we're utilizing. I think that one of the things that we're doing, instead of doing a vertical picket like was done in a lot of the historic areas, just to keep it simple and differentiate from the historic areas, we are doing a horizontal stainless steel cable railing on the ramp and the bridge and kind of consistently throughout the hotel. But I think that'll be great to really open that up and improve the view and the visual connection from the historic plaza and fountains to our patio space. We do have one sign, and we're also proposing over the entrance into the patio for a Hyatt. Again, you can see the ones up on top of the parapet, so you can see it from further in downtown. Just another view here, more from the north. You can see how the driveway wraps around underneath the bridge. We have added in the gates. That was a a good comment that we got from you during the courtesy review, that we wanted to be able to have gates to be able to manage access. The reality is we don't want to, we're not trying to put in 8-foot barriers to keep people out from a security standpoint. But this is a 24-hour hotel and we'll have security. So they're very cautious or understanding about wanting to be able to manage this side of the hotel, well, all sides of the hotel, so we don't have the wrong unwanted guests, really have a safe environment for the community and for the hotel guests here. So those guests or those gates, we decided at this point to make them different from the cable railing so that they're identifiable to people of where the entries are and that sort of thing. So again, that was a comment that we appreciate. This is a good view showing the sidewalk down, the accessible route down to Broadway. And we've actually got a raised table at the crossing for the driveway so that the pedestrian way is dominant as we wrap around under there. Let's see. Let's go ahead and keep going, Tim, see what else we've got. Again, just another lower view back towards the hotel. Like we've got some things from the south view here. No, okay, view back towards the patio. Really looking for shade, a combination of umbrellas and potted trees that to keep that space flexible, but really create a wonderful environment along that side. Again, you can see the gate, and right now the hotel property is about 10 foot wide along the east side here, so we've got a ramp down and wraps around, and that will coordinate well with that future housing project. So from the south view, you can see we've got the exits that come out from the upper floor. The goal is to be able to, we'll look at the colors here in a bit, but to have more of we have 3 main colors of a kind of a neutral white, a low light gray, and then we've got a darker color that we're utilizing for the steel to emphasize sort of the elements of the bridge and the stair itself, and with columns and things being a lighter color. This shows the roundabout area, and over to the further over, we've got the central plant. I think maybe the next view will. There we go. So yeah, this starts to show the roundabout and some of the mounding, the landscape concept that to really restore closer to what it was. It used to be a mound with grass on it, and we don't want to be doing that from a water standpoint and maintenance standpoint. So I think the concept there is to actually create a raised mound and use evergreen landscaping to be able to create that same image. And I think that the landscape subcommittee was very pleased with that approach. We do have our central plant here where we can utilize trees for not just shading the sidewalks, but really help screen that as well. And that landscape buffer along the west side, again, I think will be a great solution to help buffer that. Again, and you can see it again that we're again in purple. We're showing the proposed signage locations where that would go. All right. So these are the colors you can see from the over on the upper left is really the light, our kind of our off-white color. So it doesn't want to be too stark white, but it does want to be a crisp white there. Then with the 3 center columns or colors are the kind of the warm or medium gray with the darker bronze gray that for the stairs and the bridge, showing the detail a little bit of the stainless steel cables. All the aluminum, which is really the main color of the building, is a medium bronze anodized. So that's going to be for all the window frame system, and we are replacing the entire glazing system, so we can be consistent with that aluminum. And there are some horizontal bands of aluminum right at the floor levels. They're really spandrel panels and things, so all that will blend and match together. We have both a spandrel glass and an insulated glass. One of the comments that did come out of the out of the plans review subcommittee, there had been a public comment asking that we take a look at the glass, as Maria said, and ensure that it's compatible. So what's interesting, and I don't know if the next slide starts to show some of that. We have created some mock-ups over the last week or so. There are actually 4 different kinds of glass out there in the building now. There's a 1/4-inch glaze system that most of it, a lot of it has a bronze tint, but there's also some clear. We've got an insulated glaze glass that is of a dual pane that is more of a clear glass. There are mirrored glass. There's mirrored glass that's out there, and we did not anticipate or want to propose trying to be compatible with the mirrored glass, because I think that's a bit much for what and was not the original context of the building. So what's interesting is, with the trying to compare the glass with what's there, all the different types that are there, depending up it seems like with the dual glazing, either what's there or even what we're proposing, it will never match the single glaze, just because reflections are different. We now have low E coatings and things. The Hilton standards are a clear glazing. So what we've done is, with an insulated glass, we think it actually is very close to the dual pane that's existing, as you can see on the right. But depending upon the angle of where you stand and what it's reflecting, it's really kind of reflecting the environment, and and it has a very similar type of tint as we look with the existing and the new. The way we mocked this up is we actually took a piece of foam, a black foam core, and put it about 1 foot behind it. We tried putting it right up against the back of the glazing, and it looked more like a spandrel panel when you do that, so that wasn't representative. So again, we've been trying to look at a variety of scenarios, but I think from our standpoint, it's very compatible. But the goal is to really create the dark verticality of the building with the bronze frame system. So and the white columns. So that's really our focus, and I think this does work well to be able to do that. The next slide shows I think the spandrel panels, which again are a different sort of reflectivity, but it's closer to what we've got with the dual pane. But again, because it's a spandrel panel, it's never going to look quite like an insulated or single pane glass there.
So as we approached replacing the glazing system, obviously, in order to meet current energy code, we needed to have dual pane glass. We needed to have low E coatings. So there was kind of a minimum standard for energy code that would occur. And so, this is all exactly the same 3 pieces of glass next to each other. So all 4 of these pictures are the same glass, left, center, and right. And the two pieces, the single pane and the dual pane, match or are what most of the current building is. So 2 of the elevations are one, 2 of the elevations are the other, and then you get something a little bit different on the lower levels. So this is kind of as close to kind of representing about 80% of the elevation from an existing condition, but it is very different depending on which angle you're looking at the glass. And especially as you start to get in the low E coating starts to create different sorts of reflections depending on the conditions around it. We're also, as we replace the glazing system, we end up with a thermally broken aluminum frame around that perimeter, rather than the operable windows that were in there from the 70s.
So I mean, unfortunately, I think the comment that came from PRS was they wanted to be compatible. I mean, they were certainly not trying to ask it to match. It will never match with a single glazed old type. And so, Grace, you've got a question?
Yeah. We're replacing all the glass on the building, is that right? Is any of it remaining that you would want to be matching, or we're just talking about compatibility from a historic standpoint?
Correct.
Yeah, we're replacing everything.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah, and this building is not historic. It's obviously it's adjacent to. So, but again, yeah, we want to be able to. I think the it's the design character that we're trying to create, and that's a good question because it's not going to have to be adjacent to anything that was existing. So really, all the aluminum and all the glazing are being replaced. All right. So get into some more detail. You can see the plaza here. It, Eric will come through. He has a good time with the landscape, especially along Broadway, where it's a very narrow strip, and I think we've got a good solution with sort of a vertical small tree that's going there. The plaza paving, well, actually, so the existing paving underneath the porte cochere is a stamped concrete. That is remaining. Our plaza is a gray scored concrete, matching the gray that really is throughout the historic plazas through the TCC, et cetera. And we're matching, we're kind of following a similar approach of the scoring coming off the structural grid to create that smaller scale as we go through. And so, but not wanting to do a paver and things that would be a maintenance issue over time. You can see then a variety of landscape and things that's happening. This shows obviously that ramp in more detail of how that ramps up and over. I think it could be a great solution. So much more visible and inviting to the community. And we're really wanting to encourage our hotel guests to use this route to be able to access the rest of downtown from all directions. So a nice addition.
So this plan focused more on the gates, on showing how the gates would fit in and kind of the scoring patterns. So you can kind of see that as a detail. So on the north side, as you saw in the renderings, the gates are not tall. They're really just defining space. They're also set up so that they can be left open during normal operating hours, either way. So that's kind of how those fit in there. And then this is the kind of the civil end of things, if you really want to get into the nitty gritty of or how the driveway fits underneath the pedestrian bridge overhead. So we can answer any questions there, but we will save that in case anybody's interested.
What that did show is that the ramp is only about, and bridge are only about 5 feet above the plaza. So it's not creating a huge barrier. And the roadway drops down below to be able to create about a 9 foot, 8.5 foot or 9 foot clearance underneath the bridge and the driveway, which we've designed to be able to match the max clearance also in the Lot C garage, the TCC. So this is not intended to be able to have service vehicles and things wrapping around underneath this side here.
Yeah, the priority was definitely opening things up and trying to bridge the different elevations. The details on the ramp with the cable, as well as being different than any of the historic contexts, which the PRS certainly appreciated. It's also very open, so that you can see whether there's somebody up there on the bridge or not. So you've got visibility both for, hey, I can tell where that bridge goes, as well as I can see whether there's somebody up there or not, so that it ends up being more inviting and clear how that connection works.
Here we are with certainly more detail on the south side, that central roundabout that's being re-landscaped. On the right side of the roundabout, we're really intending that to be somewhat temporary sidewalks. Temporary improvements, knowing that all that is going to be replaced when that housing project is done. So we certainly wanted to be able to create strong pedestrian connections, and that again, as we mentioned, on that the southeast side is our staff and fire command entry. So we're intentionally not enhancing and creating kind of the approach that we would prefer to have eventually, matching sort of the patterns and things of the historic plaza. Over on around the central plant, we really are able to have some pretty significant landscaping wrapping around that side, and along the drive down below. We're also adding a crosswalk across the street there to be able to get to the TCC. just to sort of make that obviously a safer environment there. Interestingly, that Helen Erickson said gave us information that that historically this was on the west hand side going through downtown was the old Butterfield stagecoach route. And so one of the things that we're anticipating is possibly some historic photos or murals or something like that, similar to what was done at the Flynn, to really kind of tie it back into the history. And I think it'll be a nice opportunity as we develop the project here. More details here showing the cable railings that that we're proposing here for the stairs, the elevations here from the south side showing stairs and cutting through there. This is along the west side. You can see how that private drive drops down, and where we're proposing some of those historic photos possibly on the central plant wall to help screen and enhance that piece. But that lower entrance is really meant to be that public entrance for our convention goers and meeting goers and hotel guests to come through on the west side.
I think I missed we missed 2 elevations there. Got the other ones in the main presentation. I don't know how those ones disappeared, but also there we go. There's north and east on this side. So here's the north side with the porte cochere, and then the ramp and patio, and then east side with the patio area. This is the ramp that's heading south to the stairs that are on the south. And I'll jump back to the mini presentation there.
Yeah, this is the shade study that shows how we're really creating a nice pedestrian environment around the hotel. Really want to be able to make this a good walkable facility and area in downtown. And certainly Eric can get into a lot more detail on this if you'd like as well. Tim, I think that we have oh, there we go. We've been working with our electrical engineer on the lighting approach as requested. So the lighting on the north side will be recessed cans and things underneath the porte cochere to really enhance that lighting. Similar along the east side of the building, there is if we look at if we can go back and look at the elevations if we want to, but there is a soffit over that glazing system where again we're going to have recessed can lights and all along through there. We've looked at bollard lights wrapping around low level bollard lights around the following the curve of the ramp and things on our patio space. But then that soffit light will really follow all the way down the west side of the east side of the building, just from that pedestrian route there. Wall-mounted lights as well on the south side of the building over the stairs and that side, and the similar approach on the west side to light that walkway as we're going through. So a fairly simple approach on the lighting, and that is in engineering as we speak. But obviously important for the safety and lighting and meeting dark sky ordinance. But I think it's a good simple solution to be able to take care of that. This is more to just the Hyatt standards of their signage and the approach that we would be taking with the wall mounted signs or our small monument sign that would be out there as well.
So
I
then,
think, go ahead, Tim.
yeah, the remaining pieces here. So this is the kind of the Rio Nuevo area standards with our responses. So this was included in the original full submittal. So that's what we added back in, which Maria had mentioned. So it was in the initial submittal, but also, each item's addressed in the blue text.
If you'd like, Eric could jump in and go through the landscape in more detail. I know during the courtesy review, there was a lot of interest there. Obviously, it's an important piece. So if that's a desire, Eric, do you want to be able to jump in?
Yeah, sure, absolutely. I mean,
Right.
so obviously we met with historic, the biggest context was being cognizant of the ECBO designed landscape, hardscape, and just overall plaza spaces that were developed and that we've been involved with since 2000 or no, 2018 and kind of developed through over the area. So we look to pull from the vegetation from the historical landscape, but also the overall TCC landscape and actually tried to look to address other issues that came up with it, particularly along Broadway. We are working with a very tight space. We also had between the hardscape and also the foundation retaining wall of the porte-cochere being about 3.5 to 4 feet higher. We have about 3 feet of actual planting space that goes down below. So we're looking for a small patio type tree to aid in some shade, provide some screening, and provide some relief just between hardscapes and different areas there. Currently, what's there is oleanders and some few invasive species that we are removing. And what we're proposing are desert cottons, so a small patio type tree that will have some winter character or seasonal interest in character and color, milkweeds, and then blue mist ground cover. So we're not going to create very, not really create an area for hiding or anything like that, but also creating an area that's going to provide some interest and character. On the
We also-
northeast corner, go
We
ahead.
also have the streetcar is right here. So obviously there's overhead issues and limitations there that definitely influence our ability to select landscape there.
Yes, absolutely. So basically, we could not go with live oaks to answer some pretty bit. So like the city of Tucson preference would be like live oaks to maintain their streetscapes in there. That's just not an option for us in this scenario. So Carol, you had a
Carol?
question?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I wanted to ask some questions about the Gossypium thurberi, the cotton tree. They are deciduous in the winter.
Yep.
And they only get about 6 feet tall.
I think the
Typically.
information on that tree, that's not correct. Actually, I've seen one over 20 feet tall at the Desert Museum. So I think the knowledge of that tree is not known in my own judgment. I have one that's actually in a pot that's at my house that's over 6 feet tall currently, and it's only been alive for about 3 years. So grown from seed. So the knowledge on that tree, I think, is limited. Again, we're trying to
Okay.
provide a buffer and a screening between what's going to be there and provide a small patio tree that does not conflict with the overhead power lines.
Right, or the limited planting space.
Yes.
Yeah, I love the plant, but I was just wondering, well, is it, excuse me, going to really provide shade? Because you have it included in your shade study.
We do. I think the note on the shade study is we're showing 70% shade coverage. I can get into more of that as part. So again, we're trying to provide a buffer and we're looking at different species and massings and overall. So again, the overall concept for plant massing is actually doing plant massing, which
Right.
was something that was done by the historical landscape. We are pulling in at the corner where we know people are going to truly be walking, especially in the northeast corner there, picking up the pistache trees, which a large cluster of those that will provide, again, deciduous for the winter time, but also be a nice bold color in the fall and winter when we have many winter visitors. But also providing shade and then primary walkways as we walk up to that. I mean, it was to us developing this northwest patio space and providing ADA access from Broadway up to the plaza. To me was probably the most important part of this entire project, just because we are currently still involved. In fact, I walked the entire TCC campus yesterday. That northern corner has so many issues, just negative issues. They've had people literally put in and clog the pumps and had major issues with that northern water feature that we are trying to find ways to engage the overall center itself and North Walkway, and also making an ADA compliant access because it currently doesn't exist. So by us adding the ADA access from Broadway up to the hotel itself, and then having the patio space be a main presence for basically, 24-hour usage potentially, but also just having that ramp coming up over and providing access that's, not going to be closed off. Providing that is key to everything. Plus, it also makes a primary access for people, hanging at the patio space and then going to the music hall or going to the Leo Rich Theater for whatever event or to the TCC activity. So we thought this was critical to what we were looking at. We looked at other options. So you're seeing tables and chairs with umbrellas. That was intentional. We did look at trees and other things in that location. We want that space to be as open and have as much flexibility as possible with the different events, but also keep in mind that we have the Tower of the Flynn that's to the immediate east, and we have a tower to the immediate west of the hotel itself. So really the sun period is about 2 hours. And that's even in like peak summertime. Maybe it's 3 hours in peak summertime. In the wintertime, you may be like only like, an hour and a half really. So having a space that has a lot of flexibility to it, but also not be a concentration of shade, I think is critical, especially for our winter visitors and different activities there. So
Eric,
again, go ahead.
while you're still there, could you run through the species that are planted underneath the pistache trees that are more easterly, those two that are more easterly? What are those species? I'm sorry.
So
I
we have,
didn't-
yeah, hold on here.
Just quickly, just the
well,
species.
The coral fountain, I think, is the species. Hold on, I brought up another plan just to make sure I was on the same page.
Okay.
Yeah, so we used
Or is it the
coral fountains
Caliandra?
and Caliandras, and so basically that's again picking up more of what we
Yes.
did at the Lot
Yeah.
C garage is what we're tying into. It's going to provide that evergreen color, but also evergreen mass, but also then some splashes of color in the seasonal period. So that and a few accents. And again, we're trying to bring in more of this Sonoran and Charm Desert habitat. We do not want to be truly reflective of what the historical landscape was, but
Right.
be complementary to it. So that's what we're looking at.
And you don't have to go there, but I'm fairly sure. I just want to check. In the roundabout circle is Aremophila, correct?
What do you call it? Winter Blaze or Emu Outback. That was the
Right.
ground cover that we used in many of the green massing of vegetation. So that's your next 2 slides down.
Oh, okay.
We looked at, Grant, as Phil pointed out, the original was grass on a slightly burned mound slope. Obviously the grass it's no longer allowed to be planted by the city of Tucson, so we're not going to use that. Artificial grass was another consideration. But the historic would not sign off on that, nor do we think that's the best application of the use. And so other places on the historical landscapes, we've used basically understory mounding massing, and the one that we think has done the best overall has been the emu bush or type of emu ground cover.
Oh, thank you.
So on the west side, so we did again try to pick up each of the historical landscapes have like a massing of patio spaces or plaza spaces with oak trees. And so we were picking up the oak trees, one for the evergreen nature, but also then the verticality. We were trying to continue on the west side. When meeting with fire department, they were like, look, we need to maintain a good solid stretch of accessible aerial apparatus for our tractors or ladder trucks. And so in working with the fire companies and their reviews, came up with the Texas Vine Laurel as an option for that tree. So we know it's a smaller tree, but over time it will provide a nice shaded effect and buffering, truly a nice buffering along that west edge. And I can go talk for another hour if you want me to, but
Yeah.
there will be other stuff to talk about. So you guys know that, but I think, so it's been very humbling working on the historical landscapes and all these downtown projects.
And Eric won't mention it, but the Historic Landscape Committee complimented him pretty significantly on his ability to balance those things. So
Nice.
that was nice.
Nice.
Oh, 2 other things. So someone brought up a question about pots and irrigation. So again, we're not specifically showing a specific number of pots or anything. Whatever pots we provide, we actually will have them irrigated in some format. I will tell you, most likely it's not going to be a lined irrigation system, the TCC itself, all those pots are being watered in two ways. They basically have a reservoir that's built into the potting system themselves, so that they can basically fill that reservoir and then it wicks out and feeds the plant. And actually, again, I was there yesterday. I think there's 2 pots that didn't have plants thriving in them. And the city of Tucson, TCC, Larry Jones himself is like, taking it as like a personal thing to make sure those things stay nice and green. We have full staff here. We think that's going to be very, complimental in
Right.
this aspect. The negative of providing like fixed irrigation to any pot is that then it doesn't allow that mobility. And there's other significant issues with trying to provide irrigated pots, in my opinion,
Right.
permit irrigation to them, that I think the flexibility or, doing better things with better soil conditions, using wicking components or using other types of water retention elements is far superior to maintaining good live pots.
Right. The reality of the function of the space, we've got this large open lobby with all the glass to the north, but it's completely open to the northeast side. So all of this is the restaurant and bar area. So there's views all the way across to this plaza. So the owner absolutely wants this patio area to be activated and to look great, so that when people are in the lobby, they see through to the restaurant, and we've got that connection. So there's going to be staff out in the patio area all day, every day, connected with the restaurant, which kind of feeds into needing to have some flexibility, so that depending on the type of event that's going on, and the ability to adjust it and to set up umbrellas and take them down appropriately. But that idea of, the anticipation that in serving and supporting the convention center, getting people out here who aren't used to our wonderful winters, that patio will get a lot of use year round.
Anything we did address in responses or comments that we need to go over?
I feel like
we
we've heard
may-
about everything. Are we gonna go over what the rooms look like?
Nope.
Okay.
And Mr. Chair, members of the
I think we have a
DRB,
pretty good idea of what this place looks like.
just to let you know, our historic preservation officer is here, Desiree Aranda, if there's any historic related questions.
We did have a pretty extensive list, it sounds like, of items that this team was tasked with providing information on. It, I thought I heard most of them. I don't know if there's any other information in here that would be relevant to our. I mean, what else is there to look at? So I'd say, if there's any questions or comments from the board, let's hit those. Otherwise, I think we should start hitting through our checkpoints and make sure we're hitting all the. Looks like Carol's got something.
I've got several things. Rosemary, do you want to go first or whatever? I don't care.
I can, because
Why
mine will
didn't
be
see
brief
Rosemary?
if you'd like. I can
Yeah.
go first.
Sure.
So first of all, thank you for addressing all this. This is so much information, and really appreciate you guys, coming back with all this detail. And I feel like you've hit everything that we discussed 2 weeks ago. I have one question. Phil, you mentioned the glazing. The standard is clear, and it sounds like you're covering the energy efficiency issues with the low E coating, but beyond that, is it just window coverings to address the heat intake, at the south and west sides of the building?
Yeah.
So,
So
yeah,
either way,
there are
sorry.
interior curtains and things inside the rooms to help to help manage that. But also, yeah, the energy, the low E glazing is got. Tim, do you want to go ahead and add that?
Sure. Yeah. So the glass that we're replacing it with meets current 2018 IECC requirements for the glass. So Hyatt technical standards, they say we require the glass to be as clear as possible. So we're balancing what the brand requires for a hotel with trying to match the existing conditions and keep that consistent. and it's not clear glass, but it's as clear as we can reasonably get and still get the right solar heat gain coefficients. It's about 50% visual light transparency, and the solar heat gain coefficient I think was at 0.23.
Okay, I was sure that you had energy modeled the building and all that, but just wanted to check because that's kind of a, as you know, it's kind of a red flag to have south facing glass that's clear,
Yeah.
And with not a lot of shade protection. So,
Right.
Thanks for clarifying that.
And Rosemary, as owners, we've talked about like keeping blinds closed, whenever the room is not occupied, and encouraging keeping them closed anyway, because it'll have the dark shade, but then the sheer shade. So we've been talking about it a lot more recently.
Great, thank you, Teresa.
And actually, the curtains are tied in with our energy management system and our guest experience, so they can control all that from the front desk and things. So when a guest arrives and opens the door, the drapes can come open and manage temperature, lighting, all sorts of good things. And even with interesting, we had a meeting with our IT folks yesterday. Maybe it's more info you need, but with they have card key system and things, so the system understands when it's a guest arriving in their room to be able to return it to temperature and lighting, or when it's a staff member coming in for cleaning, it doesn't cool it down or heat it up as much in the same thing. So it's really a smart system for energy efficiency, and I think will be a great addition.
Wow, that's great. Very sophisticated.
It's pretty cool.
Thank you.
Carol?
Yeah, several comments. Thank you for such attention to the universal access routes. That's greatly appreciated. Yes, sir. Next comment. I didn't hear or see any mention of bicycle parking. Where are your bicycle racks?
No, good point. We have two actually up on the northern west corner there. Actually 4 spaces at that corner, and then we have another 2 or 4 on the south.
Okay, you don't have to show me. I trust.
Yeah.
In your application package on sheet 4 of 22, there's a basin detail shown. Where is that basin located on your landscape plan? I couldn't see through all the stuff.
It's keynote 17, and I think that one's 19. So really, it's some passive water harvesting. I'm not sure we would have touched on it, but basically, this is a temporary solution or a temporary scenario until the building's built. Ultimately, we're most likely going to have a drive and parking that'll be on the bottom floor, and then structures going above that. So we're providing the main drive through, and then offsetting that with doing just collecting of the rainwater where it's falling, and then ultimately that all gets shipped up. Unfortunately, when this was done in the 70s, there was all the water from the different rooftops all drained straight into the storm systems to the north.
And there's nothing that can be done to capture that?
From that, no, it's all internal rain leaders, and so we're not able to do that. We are providing water harvesting, anything that can fall onto the site, like the south of the generators, we're providing some water harvesting in that aspect. Obviously on the mound itself, we're not, because again, that was intended to be a
It's a mound.
berm. So I can't do it. We cannot do it there. On the west side, we are providing water harvesting where we can. A slight depression just to again let what's gonna fall there drain towards that. We'll obviously slope the sidewalks towards those landscape areas, but we're not gonna get a significant amount of water harvesting just because it's not feasible.
You know, I greatly appreciate your plans, Eric. But on the plant detail plans, I see that you only have depressed basins around the trees. Might you consider adding that visual depressed basin around your shrubs as well, since the water harvesting is sort of a tight situation on this plan?
Yeah, yeah, fair enough. Honestly, that's a working with the civil engineer, and what we're doing, we're not defining the depths of the basin, and this would probably get into my pet peeves of doing water harvesting and micro grading and everything else on every single project we work on. So we're in agreement trying to show that our details specifically don't define that, because we cannot define it. It's got to be defined by the civil engineer. And if we try to push the envelope of going more than 9 inches,
Well,
we
just
get
a
crazy
slight,
problem.
2 or 3 inches every bit makes a difference.
Oh, we're 100%,
Yeah.
100% agree.
And along that note, I've learned in the past to always note that if plants are planted on a slope, that you note the irrigation emitters to be placed uphill of the
On the north
plant,
side. Yeah.
on the upslope side. So when it runs off, it runs at least towards the plant, right? Okay.
Yep.
I'd like to talk about your selection of the Aromophila in the roundabout. I love the massing idea. I really like your plant palette, but I don't like the Aromophila there. And we are the design review board. I think it'd be so much more interesting to put something like the Asclepias subulata, the desert milkweed. It gets a little taller, and a large massing of that. I learned from Margaret Livingston that butterflies don't have good eyesight. That when you do a massing of a plant such as Asclepias subulata, which is a butterfly attractant, it's gonna just call in the butterflies. I think that would be more in keeping and a Sonoran Desert native than a Australian plant. I would just like to suggest that you change that species of Aromophila out. Perhaps add some color in the front. I don't know, but I love the massing idea, but I don't like the Aromophila. With regards, could we go to the dining plaza, that northeast corner? And can we zoom in? Okay, good. Okay. The planting area on the edge at the same finished floor elevation, I'm assuming, as the dining plaza is awfully skinny. I'm wondering if we could reduce the size of the pavers there to enable an increase in the width of the planting area and lush that up, particularly on the northeast corner where you have that walkway overhead, and pull it out so that it is a little more in the sun. So can we go back to the plan of that corner? Thank you. I'm wondering if it might be too much. You'd lose maybe 3 tables, but if those 2 most northeastern blocks of concrete could be removed or cut in half so that you're able to increase the planting area and lush that area in, fill that area in with some plants. No, entry circle.
We do have the ability to, it's not just the width adjacent to the ramp. The way that we've designed that, and maybe Tim can show the detail, that walkway is actually open underneath, so that with the goal that, I mean, obviously it's limited on the light, but you can see it is open. And so maybe we can get I like the idea of really having a strong, lush landscape there along that side. But maybe there's a low light plant that might be able to help increase the impact of that.
This is the level of the dining patio, and then the ramp as it
Right.
heads up,
So it
creates more volume underneath.
It's a
I think
pretty dark spot, though.
Carol, I think we're starting to design for this team, and
I'm just
kind of
making a
want to not
suggestion.
go there as far as like, is this part of our? I mean,
I'm just making a recommendation that it seems like that area could
right.
be
Right.
lushed
But
in.
you're
Yeah,
you're
okay,
modifying their plow. You're modifying their plow this space, which really isn't part of our job, in my opinion.
yeah, just increase the planting area to lush up that northeast corner in particular. And yeah, those are my comments. Thank you.
I think if you're looking at that, there might be an opportunity for this team to look at maybe doing some sort of trellis binding on there, Eric. I don't know, that might create a little bit of a hidden spot underneath that overhang, but you might be able to get that look that Carol's talking about, that verticality of lushness in that very narrow strip. If you started talking about something like that, that might be an option for you guys.
I think we definitely, I mean, actually I've seen where creeping fig has been a fantastic plant where you got a lot of shade condition that could actually grow
Yeah.
and make it a kind of green side there. We did not propose a lot of vine species. Actually, I don't think we proposed any in our different
Right.
studies and evaluations of this, but that might be a nice green, green massing on that side or even on the northern side is a possibility.
Right.
Now that we understand it's going to be a concrete, structure, it gives us to something that's going to be self-climbing in that aspect. So, creating some fragrance or massing of that was definitely a character. So we did,
Some
again,
options in that space.
the size of the plantings really, we kind of picked up again of the building scoring pattern. The scoring pattern was reflection to the northern walkway has a nice, really a square modular concrete 8-inch smooth band by 4 foot open broom finish. We obviously don't want to pick up that context, but we were trying to pick up on the vertical elements of the building itself, and that's why I kind of defined our limits on where we're doing those bands and where they're cutting through and from. So.
Right.
But yeah, we're trying to be very cognizant, and we're always going to promote for landscape. We're not going to do that. And I think working with Phil and Tim and Teresa and everyone's team, we're in a spot that's basically got 6 existing palm trees, and I'm not going to count the oleanders
Yeah.
at all. I think we're very successful of adding a lot of green to a space that's got basically 0 green. So.
Right. You guys are accomplishing a lot with your landscape here. So I think we've looked at it. Let's move on. Carol, you're all set with your comments, with your list?
Yes, thank you.
Right on. I think you guys did a great job addressing a lot of things that the courtesy review looked at. Let's move into I think unless I don't see any other hands up, or I think I know more about this building than the other ones in downtown. I mean, it's been sitting there long enough. We should probably do some investment into this space. It's overdue. So let's go through these. I think they're mostly pretty quick, I think, for this project, considering it's a rental of an existing structure. So scale, proposed buildings, this is not a proposed building. I think the areas you are proposing new structures are step downs and kind of have a nice human scale. Consistent with the prevailing setback, not a new structure. New construction shall provide scale defining elements on the first 2 levels. Feels like the building does that already, and even with your patio space and some other things like that, I think this project's grabbing all those, and anyone have any challenges to any of these so far? No. Facade on 50 feet along the front. There's plenty of articulation along Congress, in my opinion. Down shielded, glare controlled exterior lighting. Looked like you guys hit that pretty good as far as wherever you could go underneath overhangs, you were dropping some down shielded lighting. I would say that if there was one space, it was that kind of that lower west side, but I think you mentioned having some bollard lighting down there that as you walk down that path, that can get pretty dark down there, even if your main entry is lit. So, but I thought you guys mentioned you have some non-building mounted lighting going on in that space.
On the west side, I think
On the
we're
west side,
looking more at wall mount down lights because we can get them up relatively high, so we get decent coverage. There's also street lights that are out at the corner existing in the right of way. But
right.
as you get closer to the building, then we can infill with building mount lights.
Front doors of government commercial buildings visible from the street visually highlighted by graphics, marquees, and canopies. You guys have a pretty extensive signage plan going on. Can you actually, on a question on this, on that lower entry, can you see that from Congress? Or is that not intended to be a Congress entry?
It
That's
is,
more, you mentioned it's more
yeah.
for your like convention center guests, which would likely be more pedestrian based coming from the south.
So let's see, should I grab the screen here? Fast. Okay, so on the Port Cochere, this one's on the north face. So this one will be able to get both Congress and Broadway. The monument sign is really aimed for people heading east on Broadway. And then on the coming from the east side of the building, you know, when you're heading west on Congress, we didn't highlight this one. So this is where that Port Cochere sign would be, and I think that's the one that drivers are more likely to see as they're approaching.
Yep.
And then this one's more pedestrian scale for someone who's walking up Broadway. That's the first one they'll see.
Paige just dropped in the chat. You guys did go through each one of our review with your with an answer to each of these.
Yes.
So
that's
I heard that as part of the request at the courtesy review, right?
Yeah. So
we have control of that.
That link should take you there.
The link said invalid when I popped it.
Well, poop. I just followed
we
the
should
link
have
that
it.
was
There
in
we
the
go.
email.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so it should.
I just thought it might help.
Yeah.
What number are we up to? There we go.
Sounds like we're right about here.
Yeah.
Front doors, no changes to the existing entrances to the building. North and west sides are still visible and actually well lit now. They're pretty dark down there.
Right.
Exterior buildings, all you're doing is painting and doing glazing.
Correct.
Right. Designed to shield adjacent buildings. Right, it's an existing structure. Parking, yeah, you're not providing any parking, so the parking's not a challenge. Your shade along your walkways and pedestrian pathways. This question that we have it again, you are providing shade on those areas, actually increased shade on those areas because there's no trees on them now. Color palette is definitely in the white and beige world. Seems like we should. La Placita being gone is making us awfully more white and beige than it used to be in this area. I do like the darker tone of the railings. I thought that was a good touch for you guys. Materials and patterns, traditional context of the downtown area. You're not really changing any building. You're just changing glazing and changing out frames. The aluminum frames. That's something I didn't hear or touch on. Is that the sizing and massing of those is the same kind of as it's just a newer material? The actual framing?
So since it's a modern thermally broken frame, it is bigger in profile, but we're matching the same configuration because it kind of three vertical configurations. Right. So we're matching that, and we were able to get an aluminum color that's consistent with what's out there.
You're not changing them to all look like old wood double hungs.
Not this time, no.
24-hour street level activity. I mean, to the point is a hotel can do that. The north entrance to the lobbies, the north entrance, and then the restaurant function does. You know, that patio faces the street, so as long as that restaurant's open, you should have exterior activity. I think that's a great move on that space.
Yeah.
Kind of a cool space to sit. That's what you guys note here, and you have accessible entries direct from Broadway, and you're even adding from the overpass and from the historic landscape. You're adding a connection there that was not existing currently, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Correct.
That's awesome. That's gonna be really cool. You're not adding any parking, so there's no new pals. Driveway conditions will be maintained. You're actually adding a driveway, right?
Yeah, around
Yes,
the
that loop
east
around the
side.
side.
Egress and points are all staying the same, right? And you have a compliant parking plan you mentioned here as far as making sure you have enough parking. You're doing that with the TCC lot.
Correct.
What it says here. And your parking is going to be valet style,
Correct.
or go find it on your own down the street somewhere.
It's always a possibility.
Okay. Yeah, no new parking. So screening of parking is not really required. Employee parking will be either in that lot or in the neighborhoods somewhere.
The state garage is also right across the street and has a lot of capacity.
Right.
And the streetcar stop that's immediately in front is an excellent option too.
I should have put that in here.
Well,
we don't need parking because we have a streetcar.
You know, we actually, and it's actually useful and functional right there. It's great.
Right, that's a great spot for that. Hopefully, convention center guests and guests going to downtown will utilize that service. The patio spaces. I mean, this is really geared towards new properties, but I think this enhanced patio starts to even address it even on a retrofit, right? I don't know if it meets this 5% of the gross floor area of this building, but it does what it can, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, view shed, corridors, physical linkages. You're actually providing more physical linkages with that bridge across the walkway to the historic landscape, right?
Yep.
Everyone. I don't know if this is streetscape supposed to be consistent with the streetscape design manual. I think you're enhancing that streetscape along the front, right? I mean,
yeah, again,
there isn't anything there now. Is that, I mean, this project is showing increased landscaping around this whole building.
Yeah, again, so along the front of the building, there's some existing oleanders that actually don't meet the current streetscape frontage.
They're junk, right?
And in talking with Chad Keller and even Dave Mahefkoff, trying to find appropriate species, that's why led us to desert cotton as an option for a small patio.
Trying out something new. I'm interested to see how that does, Eric.
You and I both. So, but I have one that's growing from seed that's over 6 feet tall, still in a planter or still in a pot that it's going to go to Swaim's office, to be all honesty. So at some point, I use Swaim as my commercial experiment in ways.
I might reach out to you, Eric. I might grab something like that if you have something available to just drop it on campus, let the Arboretum test it.
Yeah.
Shade study looked like you guys really increased the shade proportion on this site significantly. You were up around 70%. So even if those trees don't really make it, Eric, you're still probably going to meet our shade requirement.
Yeah, we actually thought through the process we might lose some trees or have some other things to account for. So we want to make sure we are maintaining or exceeding the 50%.
Cool. Demolition of historic structures. I don't think you're knocking anything down. Phil Swaim doesn't have any blue text under his name, so
no, we like, keep it consistent.
We'll keep him around for a few minutes.
Yeah.
No blue text. There we go.
For the board, any opposition or questions or comments on blue text that was provided or that we just discussed on those questions? I feel like you guys kind of took our comments from the last meeting to heart and really hammered them. So let's throw the motion out there. Get moving. Rock, paper, scissors. We gonna draw straws?
I can do it.
Right on.
The Design Review Board has reviewed the applicant's project for compliance with Rio Nuevo area design criteria and recommends to the Planning and Development Services Director approval. finding the project in compliance with the design standards set forth in UDC section 5.12.7.c 1 through 15 and 5.12.7d with no conditions.
I'll second that. Throw that to a vote. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Right.
Any oppositions? Hearing none, Maria.
Thank you very much. And Phil, just resubmit your design package with all the new information you added in this presentation, and then we'll go from there.
Sounds great.
And
Thank you all for your-
when you upload it, please do send me an email.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
We really appreciate all your collaboration. I think having the courtesy reviews are really helpful to kind of get impact, and you're right, we do take that to heart. I think, but I think this is going to be a wonderful addition to downtown. So thank you.
Let's hope it happens this time, Phil.
Sounds great. No, we are barreling ahead. That we're committed. We're all
We've been this far
forward.
before.
Thanks, everyone.
We'll make it. Thank you, everybody.
Thank
Have a
you.
great
We're
day.
excited.
Thank you.
You too.
Thanks.
Go Cats.
So
All right,
we have
number 5. Let's hope this one's a quickie.
yeah, this is Mr. Chair, members of the DRB, this is another RNA review. The Children Museum's annex, I call it the annex, you know, in the former Ural building in downtown. They're proposing a new solar carport. So the applicant is here for a presentation. It hasn't gone yet through PRS review, just because I'm trying to juggle all the different applications and timelines, but it's scheduled to go to PRS in a couple of weeks or so. And Ms. Pride needs to leave.
I believe you'll still have quorum though, right?
Okay.
Yes?
Yeah, you do have
Okay.
quorum.
All right. All right. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So Joe, can you share your screen?
Sure. First, I want to introduce myself. My name is Joe Lithiam. I am the owner of Advanced Electric and Solar. And we're a company here in Tucson. We've been doing business for about 15 years. I'm an electrical engineer. I'm also NABCEP certified, which means, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, great. So thank you for your time today. I want to go over this presentation. We have a project at the Children's Museum. Just to give you an overview, the project is a grant from the Community Foundation of Southern Arizona. Since it's the Children's Museum is a nonprofit. This is a single carport consisting of 84 modules, 21 by 4. And the system is about 46 kilowatts DC and 60 kilowatts AC. And we're expecting to achieve 100% offset of their electric use at that building. The statement I have at the bottom, is from Lauren Kay, who is the Director of Strategic Initiatives. She basically, just you can read it, explains how the savings are going to go through other projects and initiatives that would help this nonprofit. So the proposed structure right here, you see, this is Jackson Street, and this is Ochoa Street, and this is the building right here. So to the east right here, this is the TEB building. To the east is the TEB building, and to the west is the new apartment building going up. The image is a little old, so it doesn't really show the progress on that. So the structure will be on the north side of the parking lot along East Jackson Street. So this gives you a closer look on exactly where the array is going to be. So we're gonna have our setbacks met, and I'll go over that in a second here with the site plan. So this is our City of Tucson map detail. This is where our project is gonna be. It's gonna be at the corner of East Jackson Street and Scott Avenue right here. Here's the side view or the elevation of the array. So the front side, this is towards the PAL right here. This is the driveway. So the elevation engineering asked us to take it to 15 feet for safety because we don't have the right clearance right here. So we're supposed to be from the parking stall at the bottom, 2 feet clearance, and we don't have that due to the size of the array. The array meets every other setback requirement except the one along Jackson Street, which we wanted to address with the DDO. However, we were asked, don't worry about it because it'll be addressed with the RNA review. This is the top view of the array itself. It gives you where the setbacks are, how far we are from, this is the west side, this is the east side along Scott Avenue right here. So the building would be about here. And this is East Jackson right here. This is an image of the building from the north looking south of the building. The array will be right here on the north side of that parking lot. I wanted to show you a couple of examples of our project, similar arrays. So this one here is on Swan and Fifth for a business that we installed a couple of years ago. This is the same array from the side, and this is here from the top view. This is an example of the array from the bottom. The only difference, this array, the modules at the bottom are white. The modules we're going to be using for the Children's Museum are the newer technology. So they're going to be black. So it's going to be the same exact color as the top, which would be really nice because I think black looks a lot nicer to go along with the color of the array itself, the steel beams. Another example here, and if you notice, we do a tight wire management, so we make sure everything we use here is stainless steel, no zip ties, so nothing is going to rot and break, and all of a sudden you have what we call a spaghetti mesh. So everything will be managed with stainless steel. This way it's pretty much lifetime. This is another example of an array we built at North Tucson Boulevard and Fort Lawn at Homestead Senior Care. This is the same array here under construction. This is an example of a solar PV array similar we built up at a ranch in Marana. This is under construction, the same array. This is a residential ground mount that the customer didn't want anything on the roof, and this is within the city of Tucson, right in the Sam Hughes area. Want to show you also examples of what's going to be on the street, not the street, but visible from the street from East Jackson. So we only install an inverter on the structure. And all of this here, the meters and the rest of the equipment will be on the north side of the building, away from the street. So this is the equipment elevation. Anything with a designation N is new. Anything with an E, as you may know, is existing. So we're only adding a small transformer here, a conduit on the side of the building, a meter, DG meter, distributed generation meter, and a disconnect. And it ties in to the existing current transformer cabinet. So everything else is existing, and this will be out of sight because it's on the north side of the building. This right here shows where the equipment is gonna be on the north side of the building, so it's gonna be about 15 to 20 feet deeper. So with the elevation here, it will be very, very difficult to view from the street unless if the person is about 7 foot tall. Want to show you the area here. So this is looking south on Scott Avenue from the project. This is looking north from Scott Avenue. The building is right here, and this is the TEP building right here. This is looking east from Jackson Street. So the array is gonna be in this area right here. And this is the building itself. This is looking east on Ochoa Street. So this is the other side, the bottom side. So this is completely the other side of the building. So the array is on the opposite side. And that is it. I'm open for questions. And again, thank you for your time.
Yeah, I had a quick question for you. Could you repeat what you were saying regarding the setback request?
Sure.
I think we're gonna waive the setback on the north property line. Is that correct?
Correct. Let me go back to the right here. So this is East Jackson right here. So we are 2 feet from the property line. So you see here, the CMU, as you know, is the cement wall that surrounds the
So
parking
that
lot.
CMU wall is on the property line?
Correct.
Okay, and it looks like your array is not going to cover the wall. Is that correct? If I'm looking at the
Correct.
section?
Yes.
How
we are
far
2
from the
feet,
wall is it?
2 feet, 2 inches from the wall, which, you know, alongside the sidewalk, if we consider the, I don't know where the street starts, is it considering including the sidewalk or excluding? If it's excluding the sidewalk, I believe is 7 feet, 6.5, 7 feet on that side. So we're short of the 18 feet requirement on that side. We're
Sorry,
about
18 feet requirement is referring to what?
Well, the code is 20 feet, but they allow 2 feet encroachment. Otherwise, we have to apply for a DDO. So I would say to be safe, we're 7 feet from the street. So if you consider this the sidewalk right here, we're about 8 feet from the street. So we don't meet the requirement of 18 feet.
So, okay, initially it sounded from the presentation, my interpretation of what you were saying was from the property line, you were required to be 2 feet back. But now what I'm hearing now is that you need to be 18 feet from the street. Could you run through that one more time, please?
Sure. So the code requires us to be 20 feet from the street. However, it allows for 2 feet encroachment into that setback. So the net is 8, we need to be 18 feet along this side from the street. However, since we are 2 feet from the wall, from the property line, add the other 2 feet or the 6 feet for the sidewalk, that's 8 feet. So we're short about 10 feet from the street. So in that case, they asked us to apply for a DDO. Then we were told to hold off on the DDO application because we can address that during the RNA review.
Okay, yeah, I would say if we're going to make a recommendation for approval on waiving that setback requirement, we'll need a site plan indicating what that actual setback is.
And Joe, this drawing that you have up shows that the top of the, is it showing the top of the array is only 6 inches back from the wall?
Well, it shouldn't be. It should be about 2 feet, but I'll double check with my CAD engineer. If it's 6 inches, we still don't meet the requirement. That's the bottom line. We still don't meet the requirement of 18 feet minimum, or let's say 20 feet from the street. We don't meet it.
Right.
So we need to either apply for a DDO or, you know, an exception to this There's precedence, obviously, that we were told it's something that, you know, you put in the application and it can be addressed at the RNA review, or it can be addressed through a DDO application.
So, Mr. Chair, members of the DRB, because of the RNA requirement of setbacks to, match the setbacks that exist in downtown, the applicant would not need to go through a DDO. So it's a matter of the DRB weighing on the proposed reduced setback.
That
I think
makes
this
sense,
right here,
Maria.
I'm sorry, do you see this new, did you see this,
Yes.
the new, I'm sorry, I don't see your screen, so I'm not sure what you're, so this is the
What we can see
plan.
now, yeah, is a plan with some red dimensions where
Okay.
East Jackson Street is at the
Right.
top.
So this is what we're gonna submit. The other one was from the steel structure, but this is right here. You see the 2 feet, 2 inches from the property line right here. And this is East Jackson Street. But nevertheless, if it's 2 feet or 2 inches or 6 inches, we're still short of the requirement, and we need to apply for a variance or a DO.
Right.
I wouldn't be opposed to approving a variance on this setback, to be clear. I just think we need some clear direction on what that is and a consistency between this section and the site plan. Also, I think one of the criteria that we look for when we're evaluating setback variations would be the prevailing setback in the neighborhood and demonstrating compliance with the development zone. So if you could take a look at those two things when you prepare that document to show us, this is similar to other things that have been approved in the past, or this is in line with, say, an adjacent accessory structure on the parcel where we're seeing a consistency from the streetscape on what that overhang setback is.
Okay, so on that site plan you asked for, would this suffice right here? Would this be something to submit that would be acceptable? The site plan that we have, and it also shows the building right here, shows the parking spaces.
I think
What I
Grace
would
is-
want to see is the curb that you're referencing as the setback requirement. So if we could see the edge of the street there, it shows, here's where that 20-foot line would be, and here's what we're proposing in lieu of that.
Okay.
I think that's more of a technical, right, Grace? It's kind of a technical criterion for it to allow us to say yes or no. Really.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like in anecdotally, kind of in practice, this overhang not going past the wall or the metal railing there. I mean, in practice, I don't think I have any real challenges with that. Just that it's back on your property, and there's no way you're going to meet a lot of setback rules in these existing historic spaces that have parking lots that probably aren't to code to begin with. So I think we just need to see that, show the curb and what you're getting relief from. You know what I mean?
Sure,
Show,
absolutely.
Like, show the condition you're trying to ask us to fix, right? Any other items? I have one if there's no one else. Joe, you made a mention about the utility, your boxes and your equipment being on the north side of the building.
Yes, sir.
You meant to say west side of the building?
Oh, I apologize. The west side of the building. You're right.
Okay,
the west
good.
side of the
Yeah, I was
building.
about to,
Yes,
I was
yes.
about to like go crazy. That why
Yeah,
would you
no,
put them
no,
on the north
sorry,
side?
sorry, my bad. Yes, this will
Okay,
be
so they are on the confirmed, they are on the west side of that building where you have existing utility already.
correct. This is
Yeah,
electrical
behind
equipment,
that,
so,
behind that wall. Okay,
yep,
okay.
right with the TEP equipment, you're right, sorry.
Okay.
This
So my
would be the north side.
So my other question would be, within this project, it looks like you're gonna need to provide some trenching to get over there and asphalt removal to put your footings in. Do you know if there's any plans or scope of this project to replace the asphalt or redo any other asphalt in this parking area?
Well, what we have, let me see here, where's the electrical? So you see my plan here with the trench?
Yeah, you guys scroll up
And
one more scroll and it'll be all right. Yep.
Okay, so we have a trench right here. So we have a contractor who's gonna cut the asphalt trench, licensed contractor, and then they're gonna compact the soil back down and resurface.
Right, there's no other work that you know of within this project to modify the rest of that parking area?
No, I'm not aware of any of that. We're not losing, by the way, I don't know if I mentioned this, we're not losing any parking spaces throughout this project. So just wanted to mention that.
Yeah, you're removing and patching asphalt.
Correct.
Carol?
Yeah, Mr. Applicant, could you please confirm that there will be no disturbance of hardscape or plant landscape elements along Scott Avenue?
Oh,
With this
absolutely,
project?
absolutely, there, we're not even near,
Okay,
there,
I just-
you have a mesquite and a Palo Verde right at the corner. And we are far enough, we're about 10 feet, 15 feet away from the edge of that branch. So,
okay, great. I just wanted to double check. Thank you.
yes, ma'am.
And Joe, could you confirm what the color palette of the poles is? Is it matching those other examples in that kind of medium brown?
Yeah, we had two options. We were gonna go with the medium brown, then we decided if we go with the color of the building, let me just move this here. If we go with the color of the building right here,
Yeah, the wall color.
the wall color and the building color, I think that would blend nicely. So that's what we're gonna go with. And it's all Sherwin-Williams paint, and they can match that if we take them a sample.
Okay, so with Grace's request of having a site plan showing where the curb is and your setback and your requirement of like what you're asking for relief from on the setback, I'd like to request that you throw a color chip on here somewhere that even just a little block or a picture of a color that's the color you guys are going to use for the metal. It's more of just having the application match what we're being told.
Oh, sure, no problem.
Grace, do you think that we need to actually, do you want to see that actual drawing, or do you think us adding that as a condition for the next step and the plans and revision to the plans to show that information is sufficient?
Yeah, that's a good question. I'm trying to think if if there's a limit to what I think as long as it's on their property. My understanding of the intent of the code there is to prevent, cars from hanging out in the sidewalk area, right? That's why they generally set back carports and garages at 18 feet to fit a full car length. We don't have
Yes.
that condition here. So, I agree with you that it's not, this is entirely on their property. It's probably not kind of material to whether or not we approve. I just think from a procedural standpoint, we want to make sure that there's some clarity to what is getting approved, especially as it will serve a precedence for projects moving forward. I would be okay with approving it on the condition that that information is presented to Maria.
I guess, Maria, on that context of usually when we're being asked to provide relief from certain conditions that's expressed within the app or within what we're reviewing, is this a regular RNA? Because there's no real provision within the RNA to say we're providing relief within our criterias.
Correct, Mr. Chair, members of the DRB. So yeah, it is an RNA project. So the criteria must be met if for some reason is, the typical is the landscaping, right? Along sidewalks, when there's limitations due to space or utilities underneath, or, there's a historic structure.
Right.
That's when the DRB mostly has provided some relief to the RNA requirement. The setback requirement that the applicant is talking about is for the underlying zoning setback requirement. So because this is in the RNA, the setback could be modified through the RNA review based on the prevailing setback in the downtown as specified in the RNA criteria.
Right. I guess, Maria, my hangup is that within our review language that the two sections that we're under in RNA have no language that deal with setbacks.
There is there. Let me show
I
you.
guess that number 2 or number 3 of
Yeah,
the prevailing setbacks, that's enough of language to avoid a DDO?
That is correct.
So there's number 2, the prevailing setback of a new construction.
Mm-hmm.
That's the one that we're actually defining under. All right, good. This is that was where I kind of wanted to be. All right. I mean, it seems like that might be the only one that's actually applicable to this project. I mean, it's not a new building. It's not a retro of an old building.
It's new structure though.
Yeah. But like all these other ones, the scale, proposed buildings, the architectural elements, 50% of the frontage, all these other sections of here are not really applicable to this project. So I think we could be able to move right quickly through this section. Does anyone have any other comments or questions or items, or let's move through here?
Does our purview indicate that they should have lighting underneath the canopy, or that's just for building facades?
We're not providing lighting underneath this canopy. It's 15 feet high, and it's a see-through, it's not enclosed. So we didn't want to run through the light restrictions. The lighting along Jackson, you see right here, is going to be sufficient for the parking lot. And the parking lot right now doesn't have any lighting. So it's all being lit through the light poles on East Jackson. And it's going to remain that way. So we're not providing any lighting underneath, no.
I think I'm okay with no lighting under this item. I think this is a timed in a controlled entry parking lot. Even at that, it's got a gate.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily a public parking lot. I mean, it'd be preferred, Joe, right, from a safety standpoint. So you may want to talk to your client and see if they want to add lighting under there for a safety concern. But I'm not sure our board's going to require that unless someone has a strong opposition to not.
No, in rereading the criteria, I don't think it applies here. I just wanted to make sure that we're checking all our boxes.
Yeah, the criteria here is mostly around entries, right? Building facades. I mean, for the sake of time, do we want to run through all of these? Or are we ready just to make a motion? I'm ready just to make a motion.
Yeah, I think let's go for it.
We move to the motion page, Maria, so we can read it right.
Oh, apologies.
All right. I'll read this one today. Design review boards review the applicant's project for compliance with Rio Nuevo Era design criteria. Recommends the Planning and Development Services Director approval, finding the project in compliance with design standards set forth in UDC section 5.12.7.c 1 through 15 and 5.12.7.d. Subject to the following conditions: that the applicant provide a site plan showing required setbacks and provided setbacks that are conditioned to needing relief. That's all I got. Oh, and sorry, one more. Condition needing relief and provide a color sample for structural, the painting for the structural.
So I'll just add the block within the site plan that's gonna mention what the color is gonna be, correct?
Yeah, just a physical, like a little color swatch. So this is the color. Little square, maybe, 3 by 3 of the color.
Okay.
Any seconds? No?
Oh, yes. Sorry, Chris. I'll second that.
I'm waiting for a second. All those in favor? Aye.
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 Any opposed? Hearing none, Maria. I think, Joe, you add those 2 little things to your plan, send those through to the next level, and that's the
Sure.
information we need from you.
We'll send them to Maria next week, sir. Appreciate your time.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you. You have a great weekend and happy Easter, and go U of A.
They're down.
Thank you, Joe.
Bye-bye.
And just for announcements, Mr. Chair, so at the next meeting, we have the Costco project on the southeast side is a special exception, and the DRB needs to provide some feedback to the zoning examiner and the PDSD director. That's gonna be a long one. Pretty soon I'll be sending the information. I'm just waiting for the applicant to provide that shade analysis as required for the special exception, and it's gonna be the only item in the agenda.
This review would be very similar to like the Bass Pro Shops that we did.
That is correct, except
So it has a
for the
different-
Bass. Yeah, except for the Bass Pro, they already had a rezoning approved. So they had to meet the rezoning criteria. And so the DRB, because there's a different review board for that specific PAD, plan area development, there was some criteria that the PAD did not mention that the UDC mentions. So what the UDC didn't mention, what the PAD didn't mention, that's what the DRB focused on. Now it's broader. There's even further criteria the DRB will need to go through, but it's pretty similar.
And it's different than the ones we do for this review style, right? It's different.
Yes, it is. And it will be up to the DRB at that point if the DRB pleases to go through each one of the criteria. I did ask the applicant to make sure to give us in the design package, the responses to each one of those criteria. But just let me share very quickly the agenda, the draft agenda, so you just have an idea. Just give me a second. So this is what's gonna be there on for the next meeting. So there's the large retail establishment design standards. So so it's all this.
That's a lot of stuff.
Yeah. So that's what it is.
Go ahead, Carol.
Grace?
You don't have to raise your hand. We can
Or
all
Carol?
chat.
Well, I just wanted to let everyone know I'm going to be in the throes of installing a public art project for Pima County during the next DRB meeting, so I will not be in attendance. I know that
Okay.
for sure. Sorry about that.
No, thank you for letting us know, Carol.
Oh, it's on the 17th.
Yes, and I'm gonna put in the chat the section of the UDC.
It's on
I
the
might-
17th of April?
April, yeah.
Yeah, no, I am not available.
Maria, I might be out of town also.
Okay.
Where's your project, Carol?
I got awarded a commission for a public art project for the new Sunset Road Bridge that's bridging the Rito. For the public art component, it will be located on the Chuck Huckleberry Loop Path.
Oh, very cool. I'll have to check it out. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. Well, it's been a 2.5-year long project and we're finally getting around to being able to install it. There's been project delays and material availability slowdowns, so it's dragged on for too long.
Lucky you don't have to go to an RNA review.
Pardon me, Chris?
You're lucky you don't have to go to an RNA design review board review.
Oh, I did. I had to go through the art panel. I have to keep going through Pima County risk management. Oh my God. But they're good. It's all good. It's all very good.
Yeah, Maria, we gotta look at the scheduling of that. If I'm available this next one on the 17th, then I'm not available the following one on the 1st. But if I'm not available on the 17th, then I'm available on the 1st.
Yeah, I'm really hoping for quorum because they're scheduled to go to the zoning examiner the following week.
Yeah, we gotta. How do we fix that? How do we fix that? Because that puts us under heat sometimes, Maria. That a lot of these applicants that have challenging sites are all like, "We're going to see the next thing in 4 days." Like, it puts an onus on us to provide a positive,
right, Yeah.
response to their project in order to not slow them down. Because if we don't get this passed, then the project goes away, is language that I've heard more than once. And
Mhm.
it's
So,
it's a challenge on our ability to be fully engaged on some of these items.
yeah, I understand. Let me talk to the entitlements manager. If for some reason the DRB needs to continue the meeting, or, I cannot reach quorum. What we've
Right.
done in the past, when we have lack of quorum, is that I suggest a new date to meet. So I guess the new date, we would move if the DRB is okay with it, move the meeting from the 17th to the 10th.
Yeah, or do some alternate planning, right?
Yeah. And I don't know if everybody here present would be, if that ends up being the case, if people are available on the 10th next week.
Yes, I would be.
Mm-hmm. What about the rest of you?
Yeah, I could do the 10th.
Okay.
I'm available before 10 o'clock.
Okay. And what about you, Mr. Mayor
I'm available.
and Michelle?
Yeah, should be.
Okay. So I'll just touch bases with Ms. Pride as well. And Mr. Hayes, he couldn't make it today. Okay. Sounds good. I may actually move that meeting just in case the DRB requires revisions. And that's all I have, Mr. Chair.
All right, let's you provide email updates on if the meeting moves, and make sure we get design package and that list of criterion before. And I think it'll be worth our time to look at that thing on Wednesday or Thursday before we walk into that meeting, so we kind of know what we're doing. We can try to be efficient. That was a lot of information to look at. So, and it's not everyone's favorite type of project. So I'm sure there's going to be some conversations. Not my favorite type of thing to be looking at. With that, I think we're done.
Thank you very much.
10:33.
Thanks,
Bang,
everyone.
bang.
Enjoy the game.
Have a great weekend.
And
Yeah.
happy Easter, everybody.